Okay, so this is our review for Unit 1. Number 1 says to sketch the inverse of the function below on the same set of axes. So I need to identify all these points so I can switch their x and y values to find where my inverse is going to be. So I'm going to first start off by marking off on the axis. So it's going to be easier to see where my points are. So my first point is going to be at -10, 1. That second point is at -8, 5. The next point's at -6, -2. And that point's at -4, +2. And that point's at -1, 4. And that last point is at +2, 4. So I'm going to write out where I need to graph my inverse points. So -10, 1 is going to be at 1, -10. -8, 5 is going to be at 5, -8. The next one is -6, -2. That's going to be at -2, -6. -4, 2 is going to be at 2, -4. The -1, 4 is going to be at 4, -1. And then 2, 4 is going to be at 4, 2. So now I'm all ready to plot those points. So 1, -10, 5, -8, -2, -6, -2, -4, 4, -1, and 4, 2. So I'm going to connect my dots. -10 went to -8, so I need to connect it like that. Then it went to -6. I did that wrong. Goes from 5 over here. It cuts over here. Then it goes up. So you can see that this half is kind of reflected over here. So again, on this one, I need to identify these points so I can write my inverse points. So this first one's at 10, or negative 10, negative 4. The next one's at negative 7, negative 2. And the next one's going to be at 6, 1. Well, negative 6, 1. Then negative 3, 3. And that one's going to be at negative 1, 6. And that one's at 2, 8. So my inverse points, negative 4, negative 10, negative 2, negative 7, 1, negative 6, 3, negative 3, 6, negative 1, and 8, 2. So negative 4, negative 10. Negative 2, negative 7. One, negative 6. 3, negative 3. 6, negative 1. Then 8, 2. So you can see this bows this way and that one bows that way, so they're bowing towards each other. And this one's kind of bowing that way and that one's going that way. Just everything along this line is opposite of what's going on that line. So the bottom of the page, 3 through 6, say find the inverses of the following relations. So this one, I'm just going to reverse the x and y values. So that's going to be 112, 5, negative 3, 3, 4, 7, 10, and negative 12, 6. And then for these, when we had equations, we talked about writing out our steps, making a little table. The first thing I did to x here was multiply by 5. Then I added 1. So when I look at my inverse, I'm going to start that last step and do the opposite operation. So instead of adding 1 for my inverse, I'm going to subtract 1. And then I'm going to do the opposite of my first step. Multiply by 5, I'm going to divide by 5. So now my inverse is x. And then I subtract 1. Then I divide that by 5. And that's my answer. Number 5 looks a little weird because I'm subtracting 2x from 7. I'm just going to write out my steps. So I'm looking at x. I multiply by negative 2. Then I added 7. So my inverse, I'm going to subtract 7. Then I'm going to divide by -2. So it's going to look like we typically don't like negatives in the denominator, so I'm going to divide by -1. So let's make it -x plus 7 divided by 2. So for this one, I'm going to say my inverse is -x plus 7 divided by 2. So the next one, the first thing I did looking at x was square it. Then I subtracted 3. So for my inverse, the opposite of subtraction is addition. The opposite of square root, or square, is square root. So when I write my relation, it's x plus 3 square rooted, and I need that plus and minus.